Today, we are going to discuss some of the modern approaches to the study of political science. As we all know, there are two types of approaches to the study of political science, the traditional approaches and modern approaches. Among the modern approaches, we are going to study the systems approach and structural functional approach. These two approaches are developed by American political scientists. These two are called as the modern approaches to the study of political science. Among the traditional approaches, we have the philosophical approach, historical approach, institutional approach, and juridical approach. These approaches were used till 19th century. But in 20th century, some of the new approaches have come. These new approaches are mostly developed by American political scientists and Western political scientists. Among them, Gabriel Allman, Brigham Powell, Sidney Verba, Charles Merriam, and other political thinkers and political scientists are prominently noted. The modern approaches to the study of political science are behavioral approach, post-behavioral approach. Within the behavioral approach, the systems approach and structural functional approach are the important approaches. In fact, the traditional approaches were followed till 19th century. They are all state-centric approaches, but modern approaches are citizen-centric approaches. They study about the political behavior of the citizens, whereas the traditional approaches study about the government, the constitutions, the political system, the political institutions, and other things. Whereas the modern approaches, they study about the citizen, his rights, his duties, his constitution, his government. So likewise, the modern approaches are called as the citizen-centric approaches. Among the modern approaches, we have systems approach and structural functional approach are the two important approaches that we are going to study today. The systems approach is developed by David Easton. David Easton is an American political scientist. And likewise, the structural functional approach is developed by so many political scientists. Among them, Gabriel Allman and Brigham Powell are the two important political scientists. In today's class, we are going to study about the systems approach and structural functional approach. First, let's study about the systems approach. Systems approach considers political system or a country as a political system and how various activities in the political system are carried out between the government and between the people, between the government and people, and among the people. That's why it is called as the systems approach. The systems approach is also known as the input-output model. It is developed by an American political scientist known as David Easton. David Easton has developed this system. And this system says political system is one of the subsystems of society. In every society, there are various subsystems. We have a political system, we have an economic system, we have a geographical system, we have a cultural system, we have certain other systems. So likewise, political system is also one among the systems. So political system as such works with certain activities. So the basic aim of the systems approach is to study how the political system is dynamically run itself between the government and the people. So political system is considered as a subsystem of social system. David Easton defines politics as authoritative allocation of values for society. First of all, he defines what is politics. What is politics? According to David Easton, politics is authoritative allocation of values. Values means benefits. Authority means government, the people with power. Allocation, they distribute values, various benefits to the people. That means the authority of the government distribute various benefits to the people. The values are economic values. So, this is how politics is defined as authoritative allocation of values. It defines politics as authoritative means with all authority, the people with political power, with all their authority, they allocate, that means they grant various benefits, they are called as the values for the society. In a society there are so many groups, there are so many sections of people. So, each and every section of the people is getting some benefit or the other from the government. So, that is how the government uses its authority to distribute various benefits to the people. This is known as authoritative allocation of values. With all its authority, the people in power allocate benefits, they are called as the economic values for the society. So, this is known as authoritative allocation of values. So, in family, political parties, student organizations and other subsystems are called as political para-political systems. They also develop politics in any society. And now let us see what is the definition of authority. Authority means the people in power who grant benefits. Generally, people elect their leaders and these leaders get their political power. By using their political power, the leaders grant benefits to the people. They are called as the authority. So, the power of authority is called as authoritative. So, they allocate means they distribute the benefits to the people. There are so many benefits the government gives to the people. For example, for the farmers, the government gives fertilizers and pesticides, seeds, agricultural inputs and free power supply. So, these are all the benefits that the agricultural community gets, and the government also fixes agricultural marketing prices. They are called the minimum support price. So, these are the benefits that the farmers get from the government. Likewise, the industries get some benefits, the students get some benefits, and Dalits, Adivasis, backward castes, minorities, women, they also get many benefits. These are various sections of society that get benefits from the government. They are called as the distribution of benefits. This distribution of benefits is given by the people in power. They are called as the authority. So, authoritative allocation of values. What are the values? Values in the sense economic values. So, pensions, subsidies, houses, scholarships, these are some of the values that the government gives to the people. The government gives social pensions for all the old age people. The government provides maternity benefits to all the pregnant women. The government provides scholarships to the students. So, the government gives subsidies to the agricultural community and industrial communities. So, likewise, the economic benefits that different sections of society get from the government are called as the benefits. These benefits are called as the values. Values means economic values. So, authoritative allocation of values. The people in power with all their authority allocate, grant these benefits to the people. So, politics is defined as authoritative allocation of values. David Easton has defined politics as authoritative allocation of values. There are three important terms here: authoritative allocation of values in a society. What do you mean by authority? Authority means people in power have the right to grant benefits. That is called as the authority. Allocate means they distribute. Generally, the benefits are to be distributed among all the people. The government should show equanimity among all sections of people. It cannot grant so many benefits to one section of society and neglect other sections. It should equally and with all its equanimity, it should distribute all the benefits to different sections of people. That's why authoritative allocation of values. Values means the economic values, the economic benefits that people get are called as authoritative allocation of values. So, the political system works with the help of two important inputs, inputs and outputs. Inputs and outputs. Inputs means people who demand the government and people who support the government, that is called as inputs. People demand the government, various demands, agricultural demands, industrial demands, the demands of the students, the demands of the women, the demands of the environmentalists, the demands of employees. So, likewise, each and every section of society demand various economic benefits from the government. So, the government works on these demands. So, the demands are the first important input. And people who get the demand from the government support the government. People who get the grants from the government, they support the government. So, demands and supports constitute the inputs. Demands and supports constitutes the inputs of the political system. And based on these demands and supports, the government gives policies and decisions. It takes decisions on grants, it takes decisions on allocations, and it also makes policies. There are various policies the government formulate: agriculture policy, industrial policy, import-export policies, welfare policies, backward class welfare policies, women welfare policies, tourism policy. Likewise, the government formulates various policies, and with the help of these policies, the government allocates various values to the people. So, policies are the policy decisions. With the help of the decisions and policies, the government provides various benefits to the people. For example, the Telangana government has decided to waive the agricultural loans of all the farmers. That is the policy of the government. Within the policy of the government has taken steps to waive certain amounts of loans of the medium farmers and peasants, small peasants and marginal peasants. So, this is how the benefits that the government gives is in the form of decisions and policies. So, decisions and policies are the outputs. Now, let us go back to the inputs. What are the inputs? The demands and supports from the people to the government are called as the inputs, whereas the decisions and policies are called as the outputs. So, with the help of these inputs and outputs, people make inputs. The government transforms the inputs into outputs, inputs and outputs, inputs and outputs. With the help of these inputs and output policies, this is called as input-output model. The government allocate certain values to the people. The government uses its authority and allocate values to the people. So, politics is defined as authoritative allocation of values. So, the government uses the inputs and transform these inputs into outputs. So, this is called as the input-output model. And there is also feedback mechanism. If the people demand more and the government gives less, then people make fresh demands. The people make fresh demands and vibrant demands. And if the people gets benefits from the government, people support the government. So, this is how outputs are leading to inputs and inputs are leading to outputs. Outputs are leading to inputs, inputs are leading to outputs. This is called as the feedback mechanism. So, in the feedback mechanism, the government is at the center and inputs are on the right side and outputs are on the left side. So, the feedback mechanism is in a circular way. So, first the system works from inputs. The people demand the government and the government transforms these inputs into outputs, and people who are satisfied with the government, they support the government. People who are not satisfied with the government make fresh demands. So, demands and supports becomes inputs and decisions and policies of the government becomes outputs. So, this is how the feedback mechanism goes in a circular way. It converts inputs into outputs and outputs into inputs, inputs into outputs, outputs into inputs. So, this is how the politics is conducted in a fresh society, in a free society, where the government with all its authority allocate the economic values to the people. So, this is called as the input-output model of David Easton. So, in input-output model, we must learn 4 important things. The first one is inputs, the second one is outputs, the third one is the government, and the fourth one is the feedback mechanism. The inputs are people's demands, people's supports, they are called as inputs, and in the middle the government uses its authority and it grants. The power of granting is called as authoritative allocation. And outputs are the decisions and policies of the government are called as the outputs. And the people's demands are more. People have unlimited demands. The government's economic resources are very less, very limited. The government cannot satisfy all the demands of the people. It may satisfy some demands and it may postpone the demands for future. So, that is how it only demands certain demands, it only grants certain demands of the people. Remaining demands are unfulfilled. The government fulfills only certain demands. The remaining demands are unfulfilled. So, unfulfilled demands are again becomes demands, and the fulfilled demands become support to the government. So, the inputs become the supports and demands are called as inputs, and these inputs are converted into outputs with authority. That authority is called as the government, and the outputs are the decisions and policies. So, they are called as the output. So, this is called as input-output model, and the society has a feedback mechanism. With the help of the feedback mechanism, the inputs becomes output and outputs becomes inputs. So, this is one model. This is how the politics is understood as input-output model. The second important model of analysis of politics is the structural functional approach. The structural functional approach is the second important approach to understand politics. So, this approach is given by an American political scientist, Gabriel Allman, and of course, there are various other political scientists also associated with this. Gabriel Allman, Brigham Powell, Sidney Verba, Charles Merriam, and various other political scientists are also there. But Gabriel Allman has developed the 7 variable paradigm, the 7-point paradigm or 7 variable paradigm. Here again, he brought input and output, but this input and output model is a different one, and David Easton's input output model is a different one. Here, he identifies there are 4 inputs and 3 outputs. He identifies 4 inputs and 3 outputs. This is a different output and different input. Please do not get confused between the input outputs of David Easton and input output of Gabriel Allman. Gabriel Allman has given new definition to his inputs and outputs, and David Easton has given certain definition to his inputs and outputs. According to David Easton, Inputs means the decision, the inputs means the demands and supports from the people are called as inputs, and decisions and policies are called as outputs. But according to Gabriel Allman, the inputs are different and outputs are different. According to Gabriel Allman, there are four important political functions in any society. Society performs four important political functions. They are called as the input functions. They are known as the input functions. The first one is political socialization and recruitment, interest articulation, interest aggregation, political communication. These are the four important input functions in a society. And there are three output functions in a society: rule making function, rule application function, rule adjudication function. So, the input functions are performed by society, whereas the output functions are performed by the government. So, the functions that are performed in the society are called as the input functions. The functions that are performed by the government or the political authority, they are called as the output functions. So, what are the input functions? Political socialization and recruitment. This is the first important function. Secondly, interest articulation. Thirdly, interest aggregation. Fourthly, political communication. These are the four important functions in a society. These four are the political functions. They are the functions of the society. They are the political functions of the society. They are called as the input functions. What is political socialization? Political socialization means socializing the citizen about politics. Providing knowledge to the citizen about politics is called as political socialization. In fact, the political socialization starts right from the childhood itself. We can identify our father of the nation at the childhood. We can identify the colors of our flag. We can identify our national anthem, national song. We can even sing our national anthem, national song. This is the starting point of the political socialization. Next comes, we could know about our constitution. We could know about our fundamental rights. We could also know about the functioning of Indian Parliament, the Telangana State Legislative Assembly. We can also know about the working of the Supreme Court. So, this is all called as political socialization. If a citizen is socialized himself with the political process of various political functions, that is called as political socialization. And political socialization is performed by the family, the school, the work group, the peer group, the youth associations, the political parties, pressure groups. All these associations perform the political socialization functions. And political recruitment. What is political recruitment? If we want to work for a political party, we should become a political worker. So, political parties recruit workers. That is called as political recruitment. So, political socialization and political recruitment is the first function. The second one is interest articulation, expressing your demands, expressing your interest. Each social group or each political group has its own demands. For example, employees demand a dearness allowance, women demand a free travel in RTC buses. Likewise, the tribals communities demand more steps for against their backwardness, more welfare mechanism. So, likewise, in every society, there are so many groups. They demand the government of welfare. They articulate their demand. They express their demand. So, that is called as interest articulation. The interest articulation is done by the pressure groups and political parties. And likewise, interest aggregation. Interest aggregation means if the demands of one group or against the demands of another group. The political party intervene and it makes a cordial effort between the two groups. That is called as interest aggregation. And likewise, political communication. There are certain complex problems which people do not know. So, political parties educate the people on various issues of the constitution, on various contemporary problems. Likewise, this is called as political communication. So, political socialization and recruitment, interest articulation, interest aggregation, and political communication. These four functions are called as input functions. And likewise, the government performs three important functions. It rule making function, that means the government make the law, the government make the policies, it makes the rules, it makes the regulations. So, that is called as the rule making function. Rule application, the rules are to be implemented. Without the implementation, there is no meaning for a rule on a paper. So, that is why every rule is to be implemented, every law is to be implemented. So, that is called as rule application. And third one is rule adjudication. Rule adjudication means in the process of rule application, if any person is not getting his rights are violated, then the judiciary should interfere and restore the rights of the people. That is called as rule adjudication. So, the legislature makes the rule making, the executive makes the rule application, and judiciary makes the rule adjudication. These three functions, the legislative function, the executive function, the judicial function, these three functions are called as the output functions. So, according to Gabriel-Allman, there are 4 input functions and 3 output functions. If any system have separate organizations separately for all these 7 functions, that political system is considered as politically developed system. If all these functions are not performed by separate organizations, but performed by a synthesis of 1 or 2 persons, that cannot be called as developed political system. So, a political system is developed only when these 7 functions, 4 input functions and 3 output functions are to be performed by 7 different agencies. If these 7 agencies are not there in the political system, that political system is considered to be underdeveloped political system. During the times of British rule, Indians do not have rule making function. The legislature was not there, executive was there, but judiciary also with limited powers. So, the powers are all performed by only one person, the Governor General. And likewise, the input functions were there. Political socialization was not there properly, political recruitment was not there, interest articulation and interest aggregation, political communication, all these functions are performed by only certain groups. There were no separate agencies. That is why till 1947, Indian political system was considered as underdeveloped. But from 1947, thanks to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who has given a beautiful and explicit constitution, all the 7 functions are separately written. All the 7 functions are performed by separate agencies. Now we can claim that our political system is politically developed system. So, according to Gabriel-Allman, a political system is a developed political system only if all the 7 functions, 4 input functions and 3 output functions are performed by 7 different agencies. So, friends, political science, to study of political science, these 2 approaches, one is the systems approach, the second one is the structural functional approach. These 2 approaches are explicit approaches, the study about the modern trends in politics and working of the government. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.